Mr. Ejekwe, the Anambra State government, there's news that the Anambra State government is building temporary camps already.
Yes. We already mark areas as temporary camp. Then we also have it in a plan to build a permanent ones. You know, and the temporary camps, we have identified 28 IDP camps where we are going in event of the flood getting to reaching at the worst level that individuals need to be evacuated. We identified 28 IDP camps, and we are putting every amenities in place to make sure that when you take them there, they are at least have the minimal comfort they should get.
There's a tweet that's coming here that has to do with Anambra State. Okay. The person's asking a question. He said something about ASUDEB, that's the Anambra State Urban Development Board. Yes. It says ASUDEB in Anambra State has refused to do its job and has become a corrupt powerhouse that extorts money from landlords. That's coming from Chinedu Onyemesi. And I guess this has to do with what we talked about, people building on floodplains and not getting the right approvals for building. Is this being looked at as well? Because beyond now, this flooding, there are still issues of flooding.
Yes, we can't overrule the issue of corrupt practices.
1 sec, just hold it there. We'll take this call and we'll come back. So, hello?
Yeah, good morning.
Abu, good morning.
Yes, sir. I'm calling from Lokoja.
Go ahead.
I am the press secretary to Kogi State Deputy Governor, who happens to be the chairman of Flood Management Committee in Kogi State.
Okay.
And you will recall that Kogi State was one state that in 2012 was worst affected by the flood. Having gotten the need protection, we started on time to sensitize our people on the need for them to move to higher ground in the event that they see the flood come. And of course, as a government, we've been able to build flood housing estate in 2012. That has been allocated to some persons living along the flood-prone areas. And so by that arrangement, they have relocated. Sensitization and enlightenment has been ongoing towards ensuring that people are at alert, because we have a situation where people actually build on floodplain and in areas that are usually prone to flooding. And all efforts to make these people go because of their attachment to maybe their personal houses, and some of them, their occupation as fishermen, they find it difficult to move to higher ground or to relocate. But the state government has been able to identify camps in the state capital and in the 9 affected local governments in 2012. And as I speak with you, medicaments, foodstuff, and all that will be needed to make them comfortable in the event that the flood comes is made available. Unfortunately, as I speak with you, we keep calling on quite a number of persons to listen to this voice of reasoning, but we know that people are adamant that we are not stopping because we are using all medium of communication. For now, the state is not experiencing flooding. Though there is a rising of the water, government has on its own ensured that all drains and canals that are blocked are open up. Because basically the kind of flooding we have in Kogi State normally comes from the release of water from the dams. And what we are experiencing this year will be from the release of the water from Lagdo Dam. Because by NIMET prediction, of course, we had lower rainfall prediction in the state. So the situation in Kogi is not about rain, it's not about flash flooding, it's more about the release of the dam. So we are only hoping that because managing flooding is a collective responsibility, we hope that building of buffer dams along the rivers Niger and other rivers we have around us will help in future to ensure that damages done to lives and properties consistently on a yearly basis is reduced. We want to also state here that effort is ongoing by the state government to ensure that as we monitor the rising of the water every day, measures have been put in place for evacuation to begin as soon as we notice that the water is becoming a critical issue. But for now, we want to say that for this state, the waters, though rising, situations are still calm. Government is not resting on it all. It's working hard, having trained SEMA officials to ensure that in the event of any flood, people are rightly evacuated. Camp management is given the best of attention so that the people, life and property can be better saved.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now let me ask Mr. Ngedi.
He was answering your question.
Yes, you come back to the, but I have to talk about what Abu just said, because what he said I think is very disheartening. Do you think that governments at all levels are doing enough about this thing? listen, I mean, you heard what Abu said just now. We know that the rains are going to come, and they come every year. It's not that it's something that happens suddenly. We know it's going to happen. So are we doing enough to prevent this kind of devastation and displacement of persons annually?
When it comes to Anambra State, I believe we are doing enough. You know, an early warning system, which we are, early warning campaign and sensitization program in Anambra is a yearly event. So we don't only wait during prediction. Then when it comes to the drainages, clearing the drainage is ongoing activities every year, before rainy season and even after rainy season. You clear the drains to allow it.
It should be done fairly regular, not before or after rainy season.
Beyond that, we also have to look at the river, which we have, the River Niger. You know, even when you drain these drainages, even when you remove and allow them to flow, then when they get to the River Niger, just let me take for instance in Anambra State, the Sakamore, going down to that drain down to the River Niger there is blocked, is sand fill at the bank of the River Niger there. So you see every drain water coming down there will be pushed back. What caused it? Because of the non-drainage of River Niger. So beyond that, we also need this River Niger to be drained. Even when you have cleared all these drainages, where do the water pass into? They will be pushed back.
Yes. Okay, the waters will be pushed back.
Yes, so of course.
What about, has the government thought about, I mean, you're in the Environmental Management Agency and the Flood Management Committee, has the government thought about building huge tanks to store this water? I mean, as the flood waters come in, if possible, I mean, you can build your mini dams, channel these waters into huge tanks, and then purify and reuse. Has the government considered that?
Aleto, when you talk of building a dam, you know, I was just smiling. How would you expect a state government to build a mini dam?
I said mini dam.
Yeah, what do you call mini dam? Even the smallest, construct the smallest, that costs a lot of money.
Maybe you're talking about Boro Pit.
Boro Pit.
Okay. We'll come back. Mr. Beckley will help us with that one. But is the government considering channeling these waters for reuse instead of just pushing them back to the water?
Yes, if government has the resources to do that, who would do it? So that's where the federal government should come in.
So the government doesn't have resources to do that?
No, our resources will not go up to that level. That's where the federal government will come in. You know, they are talking
But sorry if I may come in, but you have water treatment plants, don't you? There's Anambra State Water Board.
Yes.
So where do you get the water?
Which we are revitalizing now.
Okay, you're revitalizing it. Have you considered channeling these waters into that treatment plant so that the waters can be used?
Yes, we are talking about the money here.
Okay, the money.
Yes.
Mr. Beckley, issues of storing some of these flood waters for reuse, because if you channel it back to the rivers, after a while, yes, they would evaporate, the rains will come again, and the waters will be back. Has the government considered building of huge tanks, silo-looking tanks, to store these waters for reuse?
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me just comment on what the government official from Kogi State said the other time, that the government of Kogi State, you know, has cleared the drains in expectation of any huge water that comes from upstream. Now, and he even spoke so confidently that should there be any flow down there, it will be properly contained. More so, as the level of water at Lokoja at the moment is such that it is still far lower than what it was this time 2012. So, because it is what gathers there, the confluence, that also influences what goes down to the delta. However, talking about the creating underground tanks and reservoirs, that is the essence, that is the whole issue about managing the water, the rainwaters. We have to really think at every level as to how to, it's not just about government. Yes, even a local community can construct an artificial lake to route the water of the major channel right into that place, and just like what we have in Jabi, the Jabi Lake in Abuja. Jabi Lake is an artificial lake. And you can imagine the enormous amount of water that it houses, which otherwise could have caused some kind of devastating flooding around that environment.
But Jabi Lake was not built by the individuals or local community, it was built by government.
Fine, but it does not mean that the artificial lake should be that large anyway. So, because we are talking about very expensive projects like constructing dams, which we expect the federal government to support.